Hi, and welcome to the Feel Good Always podcast. I'm Becky Bradley, and this is real stories of love, connection, and remembering who we are. And I'm here with Marsha Oldenburger. Welcome.
Thank you, Becky. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you're here. So, Marsha and I, we met through yoga. You're a yoga teacher, a mom. You have so many things to offer here. Today, people are going to hear a beautiful story of you overcoming some suffering in your own life and just where it's led you to more peace, really, through this suffering. And so, for anyone that's new that is listening here on this Feel Good Always podcast, we talk a lot about suffering, but we really are talking about moving into this this connection, this feeling of oneness. I call it the Feel Good Always energy. My daughter, Kira, at 15 years old, she died in a UTV accident. And through that, which is obviously a very, sad thing, but through that, I was really open to this massive connection to her and really this unseen forces that are really helping us humanity move into this connection, this oneness, this collective shift that we're experiencing. And the people that are on this podcast are people that have been brought to me, showing me that are part of this. And you're definitely one of those people. And you've felt this energy of this shift that is happening here on Earth. Yes.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I feel like as soon as what happened to Kara happened, I just knew I needed to meet you. And I'd been mentoring a lot of the girls that were at the party. So I already had that connection, even though I didn't know Kira herself.
Yeah.
I, know a lot of the girls that were there. And then I knew that you went to our yoga studio. And I remember knowing it was you before I knew it was you. It was like you walked into the room and I just knew it was you.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
You know what's interesting when we talk about this I want to share a little bit of your background before we really get into it, but I do want to say that you and I actually connected a couple weeks before Kira died for the first time, which is interesting. I've had multiple people on the podcast, and it's just really, it's interesting, and it's something to be noted that I do believe we find each other to do this work. I believe that the people are sent to me, and that you and I actually, I can feel it. I just got chills, and I tell people all the time that chills is this just really, it's this energy confirmation. It's a merging of energy that you came in right before that. And that we've kind of developed this beautiful friendship and kind of your story, which you're going to tell today about your own shift that was happening long before this. But that we meet at the perfect time. And then of course, we're already connected. We end up having this big connection that we have today. And that, yes, you also were simultaneously working with Kira's friends that were actually there the night of the accident. So, it's a lot of, stuff for everybody that's listening. It's a lot of really hard human stuff, but there's just a beautiful multi-dimensional connection.
Yes.
And I always say we tie it up with a multi-dimensional bow. But the first thing I want to do is read this little bio for you so we can just say a few little things. I always like to say the bios they're like a piece because we're all so much bigger. We're bigger than our identities, but you have a lot of beautiful things. And here I go. So Marsha Oldenburger is a mother of four, a lifelong educator, and a woman whose journey has continually deepened her capacity to hold space for others with compassion and clarity. She earned her master's degree in education and psychology from Pepperdine and spent 15 years teaching in elementary schools, supporting first, third, and fifth graders, as well as intervention students. She also serves in her church community, mentoring high school girls. In recent years, Marsha felt called into a new expression of teaching, yoga. What began as a personal practice became a pathway of healing and purpose after navigating her own health challenges, including epilepsy. And Marsha's journey led her into EMDR therapy, a strengthened relationship with God, and a deeper understanding of what truly matters. Yoga became a bridge back to her body, her breath, and her spiritual connection, and eventually a way to share that healing with others. As a yoga teacher, Marsha brings intention, warmth, and presence into every class. She is known for her welcoming smile, her thoughtful music and sequencing, and the way she makes each person feel cared for before they even step onto their mat. Her gift is creating spaces where people feel seen, safe, and supported, whether they're teenagers finding their way, students in her yoga classes, or anyone blessed to be in her presence. Marsha and her husband, John, will celebrate 24 years of marriage this July, and she considers being a mother to her 4 children her greatest privilege and joy.
That's beautiful.
Oh, that's you. I feel that really, that connection that we both have. My marriage to my husband, 20 years, solid, amazing, husband and marriage. And then, the 4 kids and you also, and we meet in yoga and you have this really beautiful presence about you that, you're always smiling. You always take time to talk to people and just take time to listen. And my experience with you is we meet a couple weeks before Kira dies. And then I think you and John, so I shared on here that I went back to yoga. You came up to me after a practice one day and kind of introduced, and that is big. I really, we talk a lot about grief and we talk about our culture and how it handles, how people handle this kind of tragedy or really anything that's really hard to talk about. But you didn't really know me that well, but you did come over to talk to me, and that really opened up this beginning of you and I. And yeah, I feel a real sense of peace and comfort around you all the time. And then it goes on from there that we just have this connection and we can feel it.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember going up to you and talking to you. I was very nervous, but I felt this pull, like I had to. And I just wanted you to know that in whatever capacity that I could be here for you.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to you, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
There are no words.
Yeah.
Your response was so gracious. Do you remember what you said?
I have no idea. Yeah.
You said, oh, Becky, it was so beautiful. You said, there's nothing you could say that would make it worse.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was such like a beautiful response, a beautiful soft heart response. It was just beautiful.
One of the ways that I feel like I was able to navigate what was happening and was that I would tell people, for me, I was like, there's really nothing that you're going to say that's wrong, but I will tell you.
Yeah.
I have no problem if you know me. I will say like, well, no, not exactly. But I'm not going to get offended. I really appreciated not, because, anytime anybody's experiencing suffering, because I've experienced different levels of suffering, you're experiencing it on the inside, and I needed to be able to talk about it instead of pretend. And so it wasn't that it was just, I wasn't having my own experience. So I appreciated that. And that the time it blossoms from there, and you end up, you're now teaching at that studio. And I just feel you have a beautiful connection to music. You are always sending signs from Kira through your music. Something will be going on with me, and then I'll come into your class and you will have the perfect music that is connected to whatever is going on with me, which is really cool. Even that we kind of do that all the time, that you might not even realize that you are like this channel for our consciousness can be connected to everything, to God, to all of these beings that are trying to help us, that it feels like our idea of like, oh, I don't even know how that ended up on my playlist, or I don't even know why I was talking about that. But that is what I've experienced, is this really massive amount of merged consciousness where whatever is happening with me is kind of finding its way to me through everyone, but specifically some people, and you are one of those people.
Well, music is really powerful. Music is really powerful. I don't take it lightly when I put together my yoga classes. I hope, as I'm creating the playlist, that a song will speak to at least one person in the class powerfully. And it doesn't matter the song, but I'm glad that it helps you brings it out.
Can connect with us. Anything can connect. And then we talk about the physical practice of moving your body, whether it's through yoga or it's through walking, really moves that energy to help us, connect.
It's really
And then, but
important.
what I see with you is like really living in alignment with your own purpose, because it's when you are doing something, even if people see me doing this on the podcast, it kind of
Mhm.
comes very naturally.
Yes.
It's because I'm in alignment with what I'm
Right.
supposed to be doing, which is what I've
Mhm.
witnessed you with yoga. So I know that before this, you and I both moms of 4 kids. This is a lot of people's story where there's a lot happening. You've got to keep up with all of the kids. You've got your own job. A lot of times women have a lot of other hats they're wearing, the grocery shopping. I could go on, which you got to keep going. Plus you got to, take care of your own mental health and exercise and do, and eat healthy and on and on and on. And so, which we see a lot of burnout happening in our culture, and like we can overdo things. And so, I know that you've had this experience of,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
you want
I
to
could
tell
speak
this.
to
Yeah,
this.
I'd love you to share on
Yes.
this, because I know that
Yeah.
I've watched you just really blossom and be in alignment and not only look very peaceful, I feel it from you.
I feel it too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
I feel
tell
it
us
too.
your story about all of that. I would love to hear that.
Yeah, so when my youngest started preschool, I remember dropping him off first day of preschool. I had been a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, and I had to go back to my kids' elementary school to drop something off. And one of the teachers said, the principal is looking for a reading specialist, an intervention teacher. And it was a tiny, 10-hour a week job. And I thought, oh, I could do that. That's perfect. My youngest one is now in school for a couple of hours a week. Let's do this. Well, over 9 years, it grew into a full-time position, with COVID and everything. And by this time, my kids were teenagers. We were busy. And so this job turned into a full-time job. And my husband at the time was working in Woodland, leaving at 6:30 a.m., coming home probably anywhere from 6 to 6:30 p.m. And I was getting the kids to school, working this full-time job, and stressed out of my mind.
Yeah.
I remember taking this full-time position, and I remember the conscious decision, well, the conscious thought, well, there goes my yoga practice. I quit my gym membership, stopped practicing yoga, and we were off. And I loved my job, though. I loved it. I felt called to it.
Mm.
I felt like I was really helping. I was intervention teacher, kindergarten through 8th grade. I had a lot of students I was working with, trying to help, trying desperately to help.
Yeah.
Desperately absorbing their pain in school, which regular education is not for every kid, and it's not built for every kid. And a lot of kids struggle unnecessarily. Our education teachers are amazing. People don't know how hard they work.
Yeah.
People truly do not know how hard they work. But it's a system that isn't for everyone. And I was working with many students who were just spiraling. Now, as they're spiraling and I'm trying to help them, absorbing their pain, I'm spiraling because my health is just declining. Was gaining weight. I was having panic attack after panic attack. Yeah, it was a really, really stressful time. And I remember telling my husband, I can't keep going on like this. And he would kind of, yes, he would validate me. He's an amazing man, but he didn't see, because he was gone at work. So he didn't see the struggle of getting the kids to school on time with everything they needed for everything.
That's like a full-time job in itself.
Oh,
yeah.
Completely. And just trying to keep up with everything. It was too much. So then my cortisol spiked constantly, living in fight or flight pretty much all day long. I mean, every day at work was here, there, everywhere. Oh, I would get thrown into classes to sub. Anyway, it was chaotic.
Yeah.
And so then one day I'm at work, and all of a sudden I wake up surrounded by EMT personnel, people, teachers. I had a tonic-clonic seizure.
What is a tonic-clonic seizure?
So that's what we growing up would have called, what's the term that we, grand mal.
Grand mal. Okay.
Yeah. So now it's called tonic-clonic. So I had a grand mal seizure. So what it looked like is, I guess I screamed like I had seen a rat, and then I fell to the floor hard in my head as I fell and convulsed for a while. And I remember, like, at some point, I don't remember the convulsions or anything, but I do remember as I was coming out of it, I felt someone's hands on my head, holding my head, and I could hear the voices. And I remember one particular aide, I could hear her voice, and it was very comforting. Jen. Thank you, Jen. And yeah, very traumatic.
So after that happens, do you go back to work, or what happens after you have this? Are you aware that there's this connection, mind, body, like stress to this happening? Were you aware at the time, or did it take a little unraveling to see this connection?
Yeah. I think I was just in shock.
Yeah.
And I was taken to the hospital and had another one, and then was heavily medicated for many days. So I don't remember that. But when I did come home, I didn't go back to work, and I was home. It was the end of the school year. So I didn't go back for the rest of the year. It was, I think we had 2 weeks or 3 weeks left. So I didn't go back. And yeah, I knew it was stress.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'm glad that at least that part, that you were able to make that connection to this physical thing happening, that stress. So did you end up going back to work the following year?
So this is where it gets good. So I spent the whole summer getting really healthy, like worked with a nutritionist. I mean, I lived like a monk. I was paleo. I was sleeping a lot, just doing things to calm my nervous system, going to yoga, starting to go back to yoga, and just really felt a lot of peace, coming back to myself. And so then I thought, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, all you got to do. That's so interesting.
I feel
like now I'm better. I could go right back into that.
Yeah.
I've been there where it's like, wait, no, I got myself calmed down.
I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. I'm healed. Let's go.
Yeah. Back into the same old chaos.
Yes.
So how did that go?
Not good.
Okay. Yeah.
Within a month, I had another seizure.
Yeah.
At school again. So, these seizures are tied in my mind to this campus.
Yeah.
So even still, there's more work to do, because every time I go on the campus, I'm triggered. I know that word is really overused, but I am very,
I mean, it's a good way to describe maybe a PTSD response, a physical response, an energetic response in the body that remembers.
Yes.
And what I believe about these things is that physically, like I'll talk a lot in this podcast, our life is an algorithm. It'll show. And sometimes it's very hard, like what you experienced. And, it's like, does it need to be so extreme for us to start listening, And I'm talking about you, I'm talking about me. I mean, recently, just over the weekend, I had a lot of stuff happening, and I had a full body no to like going and doing something that I kind of felt obligated to do with friends, and that obligation, right? But today I say no, I listen. And it really took a lot of years of what you're talking about, of listening, but it really took Kira dying for me to fully listen. I really hope that it doesn't have to get that bad on anything when I get a no. I don't have to have a good excuse. If it's not energetically aligned what I am being asked to do, today I allow myself the grace to say, I can't. I'm out there living a big life just like you are, but I can say no. And I think advice to anyone, like learning to say no just because is like, so, that we don't need to, we just keep trying to keep going, but we have to really listen to ourselves, because things will happen. Like for you, the seizures, like something so big physically. And we have very similar paths. I also was a reading specialist. I worked in the classroom for 8 years. The same thing where you're just like being bombarded with all of the, for me, it was second language learners, immigrants, and the school system was just an absolute mess where I was like, I felt like I was the only one that kind of understood, which it wasn't true, but I was like, how are we expecting these kids to taking their recess for not getting, 100% on the spelling test when they can't even speak English? So that
Yes.
was really stressful. And I left that job before Kira and Lila were born. And I made a choice then. That was like 2008 because I couldn't be both. I couldn't be a mother with all of that and also the best teacher of all time because I want to give it all to everything. So,
Same.
yeah. So
Yes.
it's hard and it's this
Yes.
pull and you're taking it
Yes.
home. And so I walked away from that, but then I found myself in the homeschool system, which is much better. It was much, much, much better for me. And same thing. I loved my job. But I could see over time, it's just raising children in itself is it's a full-time job, and then adding the stress of a job and other children's stress could end up being, even more. So I've had that. And then in 2018 and in 2021, I had like some big, not as big as what you're talking about, like seizures, but a bunch of physical stuff happening in my body. For me, it was like muscle twitches and it was like really bad anxiety that seemingly came out of nowhere. Like I
Right.
couldn't explain
Yes.
why, but
Right.
I was doing too much and I was pushing through burnout, which I
Yeah.
think a lot of women that I know that I talk to have, especially like really high function, I call it's like high functioning, over functioning, a lot of energy that like really learning to listen and say, I can't. And that has
Yes.
been what I'm learning now is to listen to myself and surround myself with people that I can say I can't do it and that we all give each other enough grace. And the more that we help ourselves, okay, the more that those rituals in the morning, the time that we give ourselves, the more that I do those kind of things, the more I need, which was actually shocking because I was like, wait,
Skip it if you don't have time in
no,
one day.
absolutely not.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I
Agreed.
need my
Yes.
time in the morning and I don't have newborn babies anymore, so I can have that time. But even when they were little, I had that time in the morning and then I'd need the yoga class and then I'd need the meditation group and then I'd need to journal. And for a while I thought there's got to be something wrong with me, but because why do I need this much? I need, today I've already like exercised and gone for a walk and read and I could go on about and I'm doing this, but in order for me to show up for something like this, I have to take care of myself first. And once I started feeding myself with these things and being very particular about where my energy goes, I needed more. My resting, I sit at a pretty calm energy. So anything outside of that is not okay, And I think that before in the past, and it sounds like you too, I was in more of a chaotic energy and I was used to that. But then when you get used to like more peace, then you're like, oh, I can't do that, not
Yes.
even for a day. Sometimes we
Yes.
have no
I
choice.
know. Right.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
when life shows
Yes.
up and the kid's in the hospital, or,
Right.
for me with this happening with Kira, I had no choice. But for everyday life, we do have a choice to surround ourselves and to do all of the things that you're doing now in your life. How did this change like your parenting and all of that? And
Well, completely. I mean, when something that life altering, when you are facing an illness or a death, things get real clear. Priorities get real clear. And for me, that's what happened. And so, what's most important to me is my relationship with God, my relationship with my family, and my relationship with my friends, health. That's about it,
that's
you
the
know?
foundation.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And so I take care of those things. I'm good.
What's first?
For me, God.
Yeah, God is first for
Oh,
you.
yes.
Yes. Yes, your connection to God.
Yes.
And then that feeds you so that you can show up for everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those practices, like what you said in the morning, for me are crucial. I get up and no, I'm not perfect. It's not every day, but I need to pray. I need to meditate. I need to read scripture, journal. Those are things that ground me. Those spiritual practices are what keep me centered and keep my priorities in check. And then I can live with purpose and intention. And that's what I feel like I've been able to step into through this really hard journey is this life of intention and purpose. And I'm grateful
For the hard times.
Yeah. I'm
Because you
grateful.
were like, I mean, it was your life. Like you
Yeah.
could potentially die from this.
And I
Yeah.
remember when John and I were deciding if I was going to continue to work, I didn't decide right away because, the money was nice. I'm going to be honest. That was
It's
nice.
hard.
Um, but I had a knowing in my soul that it was going to kill me. I just knew. And so I remember I looked at John and I said, I won't survive this. And it was just too much stress. I was, absorbing too much of it. I didn't have enough of a boundary. Who knows? I don't know. But I knew that God had me there for 9 years and called me out of it into something else. And I feel so powerfully that he is guiding me into what he's guiding me
I see
into.
it. I feel it. I can feel it right now. I see what you are doing. I see the peace that you radiate out to everyone, I'm sure, including your children. We want to do all this for our children, but really taking care of us first really radiates out to them. And then what you're doing, at least in your practice, or just being able to give yourself time. And then the financial piece, like, I understand that. Like,
Yeah.
it's I know with Kira dying, I literally didn't know it was my last day of work, and I never would have walked away from my job.
Right. Same.
I
Me
personally
neither.
never would have, because I loved what I was
Yes.
doing and I was being of service.
Same.
My job was not stressful. It was getting more stressful because all the public school system stuff was coming in. And I had been feeling I had meetings with my boss because I'd been with them for 16 years. And I was like, this isn't aligning anymore for what is best for children. And like you said, educators are working really hard. But unfortunately, there's a lot of like, political stuff or whatever. There's decisions that are being made that are not always for the best of kids. And I was feeling the stress of my students that were feeling the pressure to do all of this stuff. And so I was already starting to feel it. And so after Kira died, same thing. I kind of just was like, I know that I'm not supposed to go back. And really, it's this podcast. I'm pretty busy. I'm pretty busy.
Yeah.
This is 100% of what I do, but I take care of myself. That's why you see me at yoga.
Same, girl.
Yeah, like I take care of myself first
Same.
so that I could do this.
Yeah.
But it was a big leap to walk away from a job that I loved. Best job, best boss ever, great coworkers,
Same.
great
Yes.
families, and I still am very connected to them. I just had something else to do. It wasn't just, for me, it wasn't about the stress. It was a very clear message. There's something else for me to do on earth that is not aligned with that. And I never would have walked away from that job without that break. I would sit in meditation and hear, you're not supposed to go back. You're not supposed to go back. And it's so simple. My job was like, I was really good at it and it was pretty easy for me. But it's what I'm doing today because I wouldn't be able to do the podcast and all of the things running Kira's foundation. So it's that trusting our inner knowing. For me, it feels like a knowing, but like you. So what I love about what my experience has been is that I'm not religious. I've never read the Bible. What I love about my experience is that I'm connected to all kinds of people that I have this connection. God found me anyways. My parents were not religious, so this isn't something that was my like really a choice. I just wasn't raised that way. I actually became atheist in college, and which is interesting, but
I did not know that.
yeah, I was atheist in college. See, it's like all beliefs. It's like whatever you're taught. It just didn't make sense to me because I was like, how can all of these different religions think they're right? And so, at whatever a ripe age of like 22, I just decided everyone was wrong and none of it could be true. And I was also surrounded by some atheists in my family and also, yeah, some friends. So that's what I did for a while. But, like I said, it found me anyways.
And if you don't believe in God, God believes in you.
It found me anyways. It's like this massive connection and like the same practices that you do. I do too. They just maybe look a little bit different. I get, and I was praying. Actually, yoga was the first time that I ever prayed because I found it acceptable to me because it was uncomfortable. I mean, it's just so interesting to see everybody. And I love today to be able to have conversations with people of all faith. I'm not here to tell anybody whatever their belief system is right or wrong, because we're all having our own experience. I just know for me, yes, it started in yoga and my connection is undeniable. It's a series of practices and just really this oneness with humanity. And then of course my daughter dies, and I think I've mentioned before that right before she died, we live in a community that's very Christian. We are not Christian. I had mentioned to Kira, like, all your friends are, is it weird that all your friends are Christian and you're not? There's just like a lot of Christians at that school. And she was like, all I know about Christianity is that all of my friends that are Christian are like some of the best people that I know. She shut me up really quick. I mean, that was just like who she, she was just like, that's all she needed to know is that like they're living in a way that like, and that doesn't mean that all of her other friends that are not weren't, but that's who she magnetized, that type of people. And so that's how you come in, because you were, you came in through yoga, but you were at the church, which is also at the school.
Yeah.
Separation, but the church, our local, her church is actually at our school, which later my daughter Lila ends up being baptized. It's just like, listen, I surrender, because Becky Bradley at one point, Becky years ago would have been like, never believed where my life would have taken me. And it's a reminder to everyone, whether you are super attached to your beliefs about God, whichever way you are, to just remember that we don't completely know. Like, and that's what's been for me. Like, all I know is what I believe and feel in this moment. And I am and it feels so good to be able to connect with all kinds of people and to like understand that, especially like you and I, like when we're both saying the same thing, we just have been led there through a different set of experiences. And that, like, even for my children, that they're all on different paths, they're all on different paths to their own connection to this greater, to God, if that's what they want to call it. They might not want to. Lila's relationship is completely different than my son's relationship with their own, higher connection.
And people, the Bible talks about this, where Paul, one of the apostles, goes into city after city after city. They're worshiping a God, but they don't know. It's the unknown God. And, Paul's like, well, let me tell you about this. And I think that it's so beautiful that Lila has been surrounded by these people that have loved her, and she sees that love, because really that's what it's all about, is love. And it just brings me a lot of joy that she has felt that love.
Yeah. And a sense of peace. Mm-hmm. So for me, I felt a deep connection to Kira, to everything, to God, to a massive amount of connection beyond anything I could have ever, to people. They just came to me, a massive energetic connection that I have my own relationship and my own practices that I have not pushed on my children. And so she had to come to it in her own way, but we're both kind of having a similar experience. Mm-hmm. So she has this experience where it is very nice, especially when your sister dies, to be able to have all of these practices in a place with people with the same set of beliefs that really could give her that faith, that something bigger was happening. I had been practicing for a long time, not that something bigger was going on here. So I was grateful. It was interesting because I just was like, wow, she's blasting Christian music. And now it was just, not only did Kira die, but like now, Lila's getting baptized. It's just like all of this stuff was happening at once. But the one thing that I do have is a surrender that everything was happening as it should. And I wasn't judging it. And I was grateful for it, and then of course, all of these kids come in All of Lila's friends are just like so amazing. These kids from this church.
know.
Yeah, just, so amazing. And my son and my son Tyler and Abby, who's been on this podcast, they have all their friends that didn't come from church that were also equally as amazing. What happened for us is that all of the people showed up from wherever they were going to show up. Yeah, I think my piece came from really modeling for my children my own relationship, but allowing them to find their own connection, because like you said, it's going to find you one way or another. And I trust that my children, that they're on their own path and trajectory, and
and that's what parenting is just letting go.
Yeah.
Letting go of control. Letting them become who they're supposed to become.
Yeah.
And man, that's hard.
It's so beautiful.
It is so beautiful.
I think that is, if I wasn't doing a podcast, the Feel Good Always podcast about higher connection and consciousness, I would be it's kind of what I did in my job. My whole job was really about letting kids be who they are. That is like really my work. My mission here is like allow them, because they really do. They come here knowing, and we're just guides. That's it. Yeah. And that's why I have such a great relationship with my kids. My 30-year-old son and his wife, I'll go over there right after I leave here. They just had baby. But just like supporting them in a non-judgmental way. They actually know a lot more than me most often. They've taught me, I'm sure you know too, my kids have been my greatest teachers, specifically Kira. She taught me so much while she was here. I was always like I said, when she said that comment, it's like, okay, when I am willing to really listen and not think that everything that I know is the right way. And all of these young teenagers, I love them. I'm never going to be, I'm like, I'd rather
you are so amazing, and they think you are amazing.
I love them.
And you are amazing. And it's just,
the kids love me because I feel them and I see them. But they also love you. They also love you. That is something about you that, because I'll have all the kids over at my house and they just love Marsha. Lila loves you. Your other daughter, Lily, ends up coming and helping Lila. It's just so interesting how...
It's amazing how everything just ends up
connecting.
And I love that Lily and Lila are... I mean, it's just even their names.
Yeah.
It's just so special. But I wanted to speak to, because you have taught me so much about letting go and letting your kids be who they're supposed to be. And I remember you spoke to that at Kira's service, and it was so beautiful.
Yeah. I don't even remember exactly what I said.
You just said that she always knew who she was, what she needed, and you let her decide. And I just thought I was just thinking about that for a long time. And ever since then, your kids know what they need.
They do.
I mean, yes, you need to parent them.
We guide them.
And guide them.
We're their guide. We can really be guides.
Yes.
But they really come here knowing, especially these children that are entering the earth now, they're just so... And we need to not judge them and just allow them...
And not force them into the social norm.
So that's something for like people that are listening. Kira really was the one that had me start questioning when she was like in second grade, because she was pushing back on all of this extra stuff. She ended up having to homeschool, all of that, which was never something I was going to do. But it's just that our culture is very much, this is the way that it's supposed to be. So years before she dies, I began questioning cultural norms and really did like the whole kind of like, they call it unschooling, but that's not really what I did. But it's really like letting them guide. And Kira demanded it. And I was already kind of like that, but I really so much went way into that. It's why Lila, I really believe that after Kira dies, it's much easier for her to have this experience of high school without the added pressure of friction with me and her. We don't have friction because her mental health is the number one most important thing to me. It's always been. So that's it. That's pretty much, and what do you need? And I'm here to talk to you. And my kids could always come to me and talk to me, all of them without judgment. But yeah, so we're just their guides, and the pressure that at the outside world, look at what it did to you, know, like look at what it did to me. If we are teaching our children, the same thing,
stay with it.
No, It's not
Don't
going to,
listen to your body. You just got to keep
yeah.
plugging along.
Wake up at 6, go to
Uh-huh.
school, go to practice after
Do
school, then go to your
everything.
tutor. I mean, like, if we really think about, and maybe some kids need that and thrive off of that.
I was just having this conversation
Yeah.
with my husband, because it was like some people would thrive
Yeah.
in that. And God bless them, do that, But for me, it almost killed me.
Yeah, and you can't handle it until you can't. And
Right.
kids can do it. And then anyways, there's a lot to, I guess if anything, it's like keep questioning everything. And then with parents,
and listen. You question, listen to the answer and don't doubt.
Yeah. And
like, trust yourself.
When I think about like my children in anything, whether it's like a decision, what they're going to do spiritually or what they're going to do with their education. And I think this is the same with your family. The foundation of our family is very strong and we love each other. And I think that's really all that you need is an acceptance and a love for each other, that I wanted to protect my children from anything bad happening. And I couldn't, No, it didn't go well. I mean, even before Kira died, they really didn't have that many things happen. But that happening, it's like we can't protect them. But what I can do is give a solid foundation to continue to come back to, which doesn't look like mom doesn't cry and have a hard time. That's like not what that looks like. I don't have to be strong for my children. I need to be human and to express everything that is happening.
Be authentic.
Yeah. And that
vulnerable.
Yeah. And sometimes things are hard and sometimes, and that no matter what, there's nothing that you could do. There's not one thing any kid could do. Any kid that comes to my house, and trust me, they've done some questionable things.
Oh, same.
No, they're teenagers, but it's like, if all the kids that know me, it's like, you can't do anything that will make me judge you. Like literally you could do the meanest. There's stuff that's happened to Lila where some of the kids were not so nice. And after Kira died, and I can still like hold love for those children, and be nice to them and not be like, I can't believe you did that to Lila. And Lila can have so much grace for them, which is beautiful. It's really beautiful because she does the same thing. Like she's had some awful things happen where she could hold a grudge, but I think she would literally just say, Mom, they're just kind of traumatized. And she knows it. So it's not about her. She has boundaries, which we teach boundaries and model boundaries, but also, like you said, with the kids in your school and taking that energy on, it's like we can have boundaries. And sometimes those boundaries mean I have to remove myself. But sometimes those boundaries can be like, I don't want to be around you right now, but I don't need to hate you or have ill thoughts of you. Try to understand you.
That does more damage to you too. It's, I was just having a conversation with my pastor and she coined it perfectly. She said, thick skin, soft heart.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. It's like the boundaries, healthy boundaries, but yet you have a soft, open heart.
Yes.
And I just think that's hard to do.
It's learning the balance.
Yes.
It's learning the balance of all of that and saying, for me, it's been a consistent, because we're not done here. We're here on this beautiful journey and I could call it beautiful, even with Kira, with my daughter dying. And it's not because I just got over it and she's gone. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm very connected to her. She's part of this conversation and every conversation while I spend my time here on earth, making it meaningful, right?
You have a purpose.
Oh yeah. And I had a purpose before. I was like, I thought I had a big purpose and I lived very intentionally before. And I live for every moment so that when Kira dies, there was no regret as me, a mother. We took the trips, we did all of the things. I knew, I really actually knew that this was coming, but I didn't know, but like on a soul level, I knew. I didn't.
You can look back and think, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it all makes sense now because I was like, as soon as she was born, it was like, oh, we have to travel. We have to do all of this stuff. She lived a very full life in a very short period of time. Like you said, my family is my foundation. My spiritual connection is also, that is huge. I always say it's like my connection to myself, which is God, because it comes from within. That is, I take care of me first. Learn that. I take care of me first. And then it's my family and all my community. But my son and his wife just had their baby, and we had a lot of
congratulations.
Yeah, and all of that stuff happens. And
so cute.
I came right in.
Gosh.
Yeah, he's adorable. But I came in, pulled that energy right back in. The energy got pulled right back into just my family, that sacred container, because it's learning to balance all of that. And we can think we have it figured out and then go off the rails or whatever. That hasn't happened to me in a long time. But when it does, when I get off track, I'm really on track. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I believe we're always right where we're supposed to be. I never tell myself that I did something wrong. I just course correct and know, like you said, you were your 9 years in that job and there was a purpose for that. Right. And now you're doing this.
Called into something else.
Yeah.
And still in that something else, there's there's this discernment. Am I supposed to do this or am I supposed to do this? What am I supposed to do? And that's where the work comes in, the discerning work of, well, what feels right in my soul? What am I called to do? And it might be saying no to something that is going to make someone mad at you, but you have a knowing in your spirit that it's not going to work.
So when you talk about discernment and that knowing, if you have a decision to make, how do you do that? Do you just right away look for an answer? Or
that's such a good question. I think it's case by case. Sometimes I know right away.
Yeah.
It's that's a no.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of learning if it's not a hell yes, it's a no.
Yes, I love that.
Because there's not that much time. And whatever you say yes to, you're saying no to something else, really. And so I'm very careful with my yeses and I'm very careful with my nos now. And it's a process. If I don't get a sense right away, then I pray about it. I meditate about it. I, seek help. Ask my husband. Don't always listen to him.
You could ask, so he knows. Yeah,
I like to hear his thoughts. He always has a good perspective. There are certain people in my life that I trust, that I know have my best interest. But usually it's a knowing.
I love this about you. And I've watched it. I've watched you do it. I've watched you be asked to, take on a yoga class and wait. And I love you speaking to this energy thing. And we have a certain amount of energy. I like to say, I kind of try to surround myself with people that are doing the same things that I'm doing, that are being of service, that are taking care of themselves, family oriented. I'm not in an echo chamber, but I am very careful about where that energy goes. Cause like you said, it's limited. And when we take care of that energy, then our vibration raises. And that for me, it's like I'm more connected when I am doing that. And we create our own experience here. Yeah. We really do. And then we go out in the world and I could literally be walking through Trader Joe's or Target and my energy of this beautiful, peaceful energy radiates.
Yes.
And
that is so true.
It is so true.
You radiate.
Well, so do you.
You really do. And it's really beautiful. That is what I believe drew us together.
We find each other because we're vibrating at the same.
But it is true. I mean, you can believe the bad.
Yes.
Or, the things that are going to bring you down, the thoughts that are going to bring you down, that are going to make you spiral. Or you can believe the thoughts that are uplifting and that bring joy and peace and love and hope and faith and all those beautiful things, and it is a choice no matter what the circumstance.
It is a choice.
It's a choice.
And I feel like I sit here today to say that as a mother whose daughter is, died. I don't think anybody could have told me that it's a choice. Nope. We have to come to that on our own.
Yeah.
But eventually it is a choice because it was like, shoot, I had to experience all of it and that's okay. We have to experience, we don't get to skip the pain. And I don't, even today, I could be sad today, tomorrow. It's not about not doing.
No.
It's about
not Pollyanna, no. I'm ignoring that this is painful.
It's that not, for me, it's like not being a victim. It's believing that peace is possible because really peace. So peace comes from, and I'm a seeker of peace. Oh, honey, I love it. I love peace.
Me too.
Because I already sought peace, and I'm thankful that I had the tools. So it did not mean that my heart was not breaking. There's a difference. There's a difference between the chaos of being mad at people, being resentful, wishing things were different than they were, than being heartbroken, But the peace has come from all of these practices and just really finding the people to do this work, and that it radiates out really to everyone. My thing is always, I'm like, only love is real. And it is true. I experience it. I really don't experience fear at all, which is wild. But that is the truth. I don't experience anxiety or fear anymore because I trust the present moment, even when, my other daughter was in the hospital, because I'm so surrendered to whatever the will is for my life. And I know that we're being guided. It's that unattachment to all of that, which is the peace. That's where the peace comes. Surrender, letting go.
Yeah. And it's without striving too.
Yeah. I'm working on that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm working on the not striving.
Same.
Yeah.
Because I tend to I need to do A, B, C, and D, and then I can feel peace.
Yeah.
But it's the letting go of those things and feeling peace regardless.
Yes, that's actually that we actually don't need to do any of this. No. I meant like the outside. I do need to do all the peaceful things, but like all of the things that society will tell me I need to be doing, because I have a capacity to do a lot. And so, but I really could just go for a hike with my dog and, not try to save the world, which is really what ends up happening, is that I'm trying to do a lot of things. Yeah. That's where the striving comes in. And I am very connected to Kira, to God, and there's constant messages about that.
But it's not a striving when it's your calling.
Yes.
It's like,
don't be attached to the outcome. That's what it is. You can keep working, because we're going to give you this energy to do this. And that's what it is. And it feels in alignment. Like you teaching yoga, I watch it. It's beautiful. It feels easy. Everything I'm doing feels easy. It's that don't be attached to who it's going to reach or who you're going to help. Like just that complete surrender to trust the grander plan that is being laid, the path that is being laid before us. And really knowing that, being a model for that and a model for each other, that it will ripple out, and that all of us are moving into this energy, this collective shift of more peace, more connectedness. There are not words to describe the level of oneness that I feel with everything and everyone that came out of this massive awakening after Kira dies. And all I know is that it's coming for everyone, and that people feel more peaceful around me because they feel the energy. It's an energetic, it's a coming through me, that peacefulness, and that we find each other to do this work, and that we help be examples. And then there's other people that are being examples for me, because we're all helping each other.
You know what I think of, just to mention scripture.
Yeah.
Peace of the Lord is beyond all understanding.
Yeah. Peace beyond all understanding. Yeah.
That is you. Like, how in the world do you have this peace? Because,
I had signs around that I don't know scripture, right? This is what's so interesting, because it gets shown to me anyways. Peace beyond all understanding started coming to me through a sign, and multiple people sent me texts about this. Christian people that are my friends. I'm friends with lots of people, but that doesn't mean that I'm friends with all kinds of people, Buddhists and atheists and Christians, and one day I had 3 people text me about that, peace beyond all understanding. So that was like, okay. And then I was experiencing that, but I didn't have the words for it. And then I saw it, and then of course it showed up on social media. So there's 4 times. And then I think I talked to Gabe Foster, who what used to be the youth pastor at the church, and I had messaged him something about that, and I was like, that's what I'm experiencing. That's what it is that's what they're talking about. That's what I'm experiencing. Like, it makes no sense. And I said, Lila, will you look at your Bible? So she opens up her app, her Bible app.
Don't tell me, was it the verse of the day?
Yeah. It was open. It was open to that exact thing. And so those were the kind of things, like, all of that stuff was happening. And so what God was trying to teach me is, it's like, it doesn't matter that I didn't learn this. It was coming to me. It found me anyways. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
what all these people are talking about is like, I'm now putting words to it, scripture, or, in all these different spiritual texts, you can see this. It's talked about in all different texts, whether you're Christian or you're Buddhist. It's talked about. I'm just experiencing it. And, that I didn't have to strive to be here.
Right.
I do have to live by a set of principles, and we all do. And I do a lot of things like you talked about. But it finds us anyways.
Yeah.
And it's coming for us all. And so we could just be examples of peace. And I would listen to podcasts like this. It's what I do. Or I read books. I've been reading spiritual texts for years, all different kinds of stuff, to keep me calm.
Yeah.
Because it's hard here.
It is hard.
It could be hard here.
This life is hard.
It's hard, but it's beautiful.
It's hard and beautiful.
It's both.
Yeah.
So if you were to, as we wrap this up, you've shared so many things about, the ways that you find your own peace. But if you were, for other people out there, things that help you, like if there was just a couple things that help you come to this, we talk about feel good always, and I'll ask you after that to say what that means to you. But before that, that helps you find this peace.
So on a kind of a larger scale for me, therapy has been huge.
Yeah.
Really has helped me heal a lot.
And you did EMDR in your therapy?
I did EMDR, which was really powerful. Basically, you go back to a traumatic moment, and it's very difficult because you kind of have to walk through it. So like, don't plan anything the rest of the day, basically, and you walk through it. The moment that I walked through was waking up from my third seizure. That was very traumatic for me. And so we went through that. And at the end of the session, I was able to look at that experience and feel the presence of the Lord with the words, I am yours and you are mine. And those words are from a song, a worship song that Oceans, I don't know if you've heard that song, but those words I now associate with that moment as the Lord's presence was there with me.
Yeah.
There with me. But so that was a huge thing that I do. But yes, definitely the journaling, the meditating, physical movement is huge. Anytime in my life I've moved away from moving physically, I've gotten myself into trouble. And for me, what I've learned is that I look back at who I was as a child and what I enjoyed as a child. And pretty much nothing has changed. I still love to be outside. I love my people. I love the Lord. I love to move my body. Yeah.
And you smile all the time and you're happy.
And I just, when I can do
pure joy like a child.
When I do those things, when I prioritize those things, then it's good. Even when it's not.
Yeah. You take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Moving your body and the therapy and you're waking up in the morning and your prayers and all of these practices that help.
Yeah. But if I miss something, it's okay.
Yes. Yeah. It's important.
Because life happens. Like you oversleep or your kid has to get to school early or, whatever. You can't always do all the things, or at least I can't. So there's a lot of grace. And I really don't entertain shame.
I love that.
Or fear. And I really try the anger. The anger is a little harder for me, but I really try not to entertain that.
Yeah, sometimes it needs to be felt and it needs to be released. Anger, all of the feelings are okay, but like the shame is, it's for me too. It's like because I asked my ego to step aside, so I don't. Shame is my ego just trying to like keep me. Worrying about what I said or whatever, and it's like, you know what? If I said it, I live pretty authentically and intentionally. If I said it, I meant to, and it always is coming from a good place.
Yes.
And if I owe someone an apology, which is very rare, I can't even remember the last time I probably had to apologize, because I try to, doesn't mean that I didn't offend someone.
Right.
But I don't say, sometimes people can be offended even if
Even if you did nothing
Even if
wrong.
you did nothing, which is
Right.
actually other people's stuff. I'm
Yeah.
always, really mindful to try to, live authentically, like I said. And so that I don't have to live in shame, like trying to live like peacefully.
Right.
So what does, since this is the Feel Good Always podcast, and I know you've heard me talk a lot about it, what does that mean to you?
To me, it means that no matter what, you live fully, you embrace it all. It doesn't mean that it's always going to be pleasant, but that you choose joy, you choose hope, you choose love. Love is everything. And when you go through hard things, you have that. And yeah, you just choose joy no matter what. And life isn't always easy. It's hard, but you choose.
Thank you so much for that. You are just like, you radiate light and joy everywhere that you go, even though you've had really hard things happen. And you've been just such a great example and a beautiful energy for me to be around. I'm so grateful that we've been able to do this together, to really do it side by side. That's what we do. Find your people.
We live life together. We see each other
I
all
know.
the time.
I'm so grateful. I say all the
it.
time, Kira, I could hear her saying, I'm sending all the people, and you're just one of those people, and that we get to do this work. We all have our pieces. Everyone on this earth has this piece, the pieces to move us all into this more peaceful energy. And we just find those people, find the people that are your people that feel good. And you're one of those people for me, for sure.
Well, you are for me as well.
Yeah.
I love it when you walk into any room.
I feel the same way about you.
I'm just so grateful.
Yeah, me too.
That you're my friend.
And then we're raising these kids. And they're raising us. They're raising us. So thank you for listening today. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
Yes, I'm so grateful you said yes. And I know everybody's going to enjoy listening to this. I hope you heard whatever you needed to hear today. Thanks for listening, and I love you.
I love you too, Becky.
Yeah. All right. Until next time.